You're on the clock at 1.1 and you're determined. You're going wide receiver. Do you take Nacua? Do you take Jamar Chase? Or do you take JSN? We're breaking it down right now.
You're watching the Wide Receiver Show.
This is a tough question. And honestly, to ruin the video, and I'm going to give you an answer at the end, but to ruin the video, you can't really go wrong, at least right now. One will outscore the other two, but it is something that you can't really just sit here and go, oh, let me tell you why you're totally wrong, Steve. Nacua, JSN, Jamar Chase all have 15 touchdown capability. All have 1,400 plus yard capability. All have 120 reception capability. Nakua's got Stafford. Jamar Chase has Joe Burrow. JSN has a defense on top of Sam Darnold playing plenty well enough. Some would say, you're totally disrespecting Darnold by not saying that in the same tone, Smitty. But the bottom line is all three have good offenses. All three have good quarterbacks or great quarterbacks. And all three are on teams that can score points. If you're not winning scoring points like the Rams and Nacua or the Seattle Seahawks and JSN, you're probably going to, we think, Bengals will turn things around, right? If they don't, their defense is an equal part bad comparatively to their offense that they gunsling in the first, second, third, and fourth quarter. So it doesn't really matter, right? But which one's more safe? Which one's got more upside? Is there, a time where I might go one versus the other based on a idea I have for what I'm going to encounter in my draft, because I drafted a bunch of, people that don't know what they're doing, or maybe they're versed in fantasy and we know we're not going to get steals later and we're just thinking about safety and we're not going to have good backup depth. Like, there's a lot of things to consider, right? The negatives for each one. Negative for Jamar Chase is that he's gotten injured. Joe Burrow's gotten injured. The team struggled. Joe Burrow's talking about, if I still want to play, I need to have this and this and this. And so people are talking about, does he get traded? He's not getting traded this offseason. I'll tell you that right now. It's a shot over the bow telling this team, you better fix it walking into this year, or I'm maybe going to make some waves in the next offseason. It's not happening now. There's no way to move Joe Burrow unless he does something that's never been done before, but it's possible. He figures out how to kind of forego his contract and they rework it to trade him, and he takes all of his guaranteed money off the board because he knows he'll get it right back with the team he goes to. But that's like unprecedented. I don't know that it's going to ever be something that happens. And plus, he doesn't want to leave Jamar Chase right now. He's talking just in his feelings, coming off a bad season, and he's been disappointed. Joe Burrow ain't going anywhere. So just put that to bed. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, both staying healthy, and the Bengals not having a slow start to the beginning of a year. There's a lot of those like negatives, right, that Jamar Chase comes with. But the upside's tremendous. This guy could have 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns and 127 receptions. Like, his ceiling value is maybe higher than Nacua's and JSN's. These guys, they have a better floor, then they're probably going to be more consistent year over year. That's kind of negative, and then giving you two positives here. Now, flipping back to negatives, Puka Nacua. I mean, he's injured half of the games. I'm pretty sure I have this correct. I might be off by a game or two in either direction, really. This guy was in the blue tent or in the locker room at least 50% of his games in 2025. It was wild. And we love that about Puka. He plays aggressive and hard and doesn't leave anything on the field. But that's a concern, and also there's still a little bit, not a lot, a little bit of concern about Stafford's back for next year. On top of Stafford could walk away. He's probably going to return. Now, as of the recording of this video, January 27, we've had, Sean McVay say, what a ridiculous question when a reporter said, are you expecting Stafford back? But the truth of the matter is Stafford won't come back until he has a reworked contract. He may have signed a 2-year deal last year, but it's a 1-year deal. And McVay already said that. He said when they signed that deal last year, he said, yeah, it's a 2-year deal, but it's a 1-year deal. We need to rework it in order to keep him. and we're going to look at it, and Stafford's looking at it as a year-to-year basis. So if anybody thinks, oh, Smitty, I've looked at the details, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not a one-year deal. He's not a free agent. He's not a free agent, but he'll retire before he plays on the current deal, because the deal was, for accounting purposes, a 2-year deal just set up so that he would get paid what he needs to get paid to play football in LAR for 2025. So he will need and require a new deal in order to play. Puka Nacua, entering his 4th year, will want a new deal. He's got the 3 played years in the rear view. He can now negotiate and get a new deal. So Stafford and Nacua both need to get paid. You need to keep the band back together. There's just some moving parts. Do I think that Nacua gets his deal and they bring Stafford back? Yeah, I do. Ultimately, I do. But there are moving parts and a little bit of risk there. Now, if I'm going to pit the risk of all of that with Jamar Chase staying healthy, Joe Burrow staying healthy, and the Bengals not starting off slow, those would be the risks that we throw out for 2026. We're not even talking dynasty about Puka's like long-term injury concerns or anything. This is 2026 redraft. I think those kind of are comparable. Then we come over here to JSN, who doesn't have any of those risks. We're not worried about injury. I mean, anybody can get hurt, but we're not sitting here going, well, we have a little bit of a concern of Chase staying healthy and a little bit of a concern of Nacua staying healthy. Now, anybody can have a healthy year and then an injured year, and then a healthy year and a healthy year and an injured year. Like, we can't really pinpoint whether Jamar Chase is he's just always going to get hurt. It's going to happen, but he's going to have healthy years too. So it's not like it's easy to call injury with these guys. Nacua more so. Nacua has more injury risk because every other game he's getting injured. And we've been very lucky that he gets back on the field and everything's good. Jamar Chase, I'd say he's less of an injury risk than Nacua, just because of the way he plays on top of being injured as many times as he's been injured. It's going to add up too. For Dynasty, this would be a different negative aspect that I go into more depth and I'm more concerned about. But I would give the edge to Jamar for staying a little bit more healthy, probably, than Nacua. And I'd give JSN the nod over both of them because we don't have any injury risk really with JSN right now. We also don't have the volatility in offense that Jamar Chase had, even though JSN took a little dip at the end of the year. And you have a little concern of, this is a defensive team that run the ball really well. And now with Charbonnet not going to be ready for week 1, they're going to run a lot and I think be better at it like they've been with one running back. And Walker is going to have a good year. They don't throw as much as these two teams, the Rams and the Bengals. So there is a little volatility there in terms of just living in a high octane offense, but they throw enough and he's the sole provider. And so, you can be better in a more limiting passing attack, and you're the sole provider versus sharing with Adams, sharing with Higgins, and so that kind of gets annihilated. There's no real argument about his offense isn't as good, so we like these two guys. It's great, it's perfect, it's good enough, and he's the only person catching the majority of the football. So there's no negatives for JSN. The only thing you would say with Puka and Jamar is they do feel like they have a little bit more upside. Like if you were to take a look at a chart and say week 1, week 8, week 17, just to give it a little bit of a graph here, and we say JSN playing at I don't know, we'll call this like by far and away the number 1 overall wide receiver level, and this being a total bum. We'll write bum. It's just right here. So total bum and number 1 wide receiver. JSN, if we're talking JSN, he's going to be like right here, and he's just consistent. He'll have those games, maybe I didn't give him enough spike weeks. So he's number 1, then he's number 3. And he's just going to be consistent. And at the end of the year, he's wide receiver 1 or 2 or 3, but he's consistent as hell. Now, if your scoring requires that kind of consistency, that's something to consider. We look at someone like Jamar Chase, and he's literally going to be like this. And he'll be one probably more times than JSN, or maybe not. I mean, anything can happen, but he's going to literally have so many. Maybe I was a little, he's never going to be near bum status, but I would say he definitely is going to have, we'll give him a couple more spike weeks. He's definitely going to have those times where he literally goes down. He'll be inconsistent. He'll sometimes be why you might lose a game. And Puka Nacua, he's always going to be like this, but then he's going to get hurt. And then he's going to go like this. And then he's going to get hurt. And then he's going to go like this. And you're just hoping you don't have like this entire string of games where it's like week 5 through 10. And then Puka doesn't score. Like that's what we're talking about. It's inconsistent, but only because he gets injured, really. And so otherwise I put Puka maybe even ahead of JSN in consistency if we didn't have that injury risk to worry about. I think, confused all of you and confused myself as to who's the number one wide receiver in 2026. And the answer is there is no real good answer. I just think if you want to bank on upside, if he was to stay healthy, I just showed you what he would do right here. He would be playing like this across the entire season. Whereas JSN is like that, but just a couple dips. Puka probably has no dips practically. Maybe a couple, but it's this risk though. But if you're going to say, you know what, I don't care, I'm banking on him not to miss a game, Puka's probably your guy because he's going to get you that straight line. And a lot of it is Stafford and McVay's system. Let's not fool ourselves. And that's where a dynasty conversation would come in, where we say Stafford won't live forever. McVay won't be there forever. McVay contemplated retirement like 2-3 years ago. And Stafford contemplates it every offseason. So as much as everybody wants to say, Nacua would be fine, he's QB proof. Look at JJ all of last year. Let's not pretend that his situation doesn't feed into at least 20%, maybe. At least, I mean, if we're trying to be, brutally honest here, 20% of maybe his upside and consistency would require the same situation, which we're getting in 2026, we think. The risk of Stafford's back, what if he went down in the middle of the season, too? That's part of the risk, not just that his back doesn't allow him to play week 1, because if he takes time off and then he has issues, and I mean, it was kind of touch and go last offseason, but even if he heads into week 1, he could get injured at any moment with the back, and the back is not something that gets better. His situation is not just the bulging disc, it's the actual spinal cord. It's not going to get better as he ages. So Puka's got a little bit of that risk. Burrow, Chase together injury, JSN, not a big deal. And what if Darnold gets injured? Well, I like Jalen Milroe a lot. I really do. If you're looking for consistency, JSN. If you're looking for the season above all seasons, the highest scoring season ever by a fantasy football wide receiver, but with a little bit more risk than both of these guys to have a season of injury or down, Joe Burrow goes down, something happens. He has risk for that, but he could have the biggest season of them all and probably has one of the biggest seasons ever in fantasy football history on the road ahead, not in the rear view, on the road ahead. Consistency, a little bit more risk, and probably, if I had to say, the best balance of the two would be Nacua. Who am I picking? End the discussion. Who am I picking? The answer is, if I had 3 number 1 overall selections and I'm hell-bent on going wide receiver, I'm picking each one in each of the 3 side-by-side leagues. If you gave me one league and I had one shot and I could only pick one wide receiver, I'd go on Puka Nacua. Don't forget, I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, live whenever big news breaks, and live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. And don't forget to get on over to my Patreon, 24/7 live chat group, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Link is in the description. And also get over to my thefantasyfootballshow.com, my year-round content site, rankings, trade calculator, bold predictions. It's all 24/7, 365. Get over and check it out. See you all at 8 p.m. or sooner if news breaks. Deuce.